In the PSP release of Persona 3, Persona 3 Portable, Atlus decided to introduce a new story pathway through the lens of a female protagonist. She came packaged with new social links, a new Velvet Room attendant, and new events and perspectives that you simply couldn't see in the original game. As a silent character, like her male counterpart, she is a slate for players to project themselves onto. While other names exist for her, like Minako Erisato, just like the rest of the main protagonists of the other Persona games, she has her own canon name, Kotone Shiomi. Kotone is a controversial character. Many communities love her and can relate with her on a deeper level than we give Atlus credit for. However, many lambast her cheery personality and say that she does not fit the tone of the game. Some see her addition in the game as irrelevant, unneeded, and repeat constantly that she simply isn't canon. These types of comments infuriate me, because not only do they carelessly and callously handle her character, but they're also wrong on so many accounts. Kotone does fit the main themes of the game, and is certainly not a paragon of permanent positivity that many reduce her to be. To be clear, I am certainly not the first, nor the last, to come to this conclusion about Kotone. Many have observed that Kotone displays a different side of depression. Smiling depression, also known as high-functioning depression, is a way to describe those who act positive, bubbly, or happy despite bottling feelings of emptiness, pain, heartache, or hopelessness. This makes it especially hard to identify someone with depression, and it makes it especially hard for them to find treatment. This mask or persona could manifest itself as a defense or coping method, a social facade, or for several other reasons. Simply because she is not a brooding, apathetic, or visibly sad person does not mean she is not depressed. Additionally, many in the Persona community have identified her as a Stepford Smiler, an archetype of a character who acts joyous, happy, and, quote, normal to protect their fragile interior, and to assure those around them that they are fine. The FEMC fanbase has embraced this interpretation of Kotone. This is clear through memes, discussion boards, comments, and posts. More relevantly, the song Moonlight Daydream, made by Mosk, Neptune, and Unreachably, depicts this very characterization of a girl who hides her pain behind a lying mask, knowing internally that she is unwell. For good reason, this interpretation has ascended to the commonly accepted perception of Kotone. In the sparse official media we have of Kotone, she is well characterized for starting as a silent protagonist. Even in her original game, dialogue choices, internal monologue, and reactions from other SEES members characterize her quite well. In Persona 3 Portable, her original iteration, Kotone's dialogue has a wealth of emotions. They range from comedic to sarcastic, teasing to serious. Kotone is less of a vessel for the player than her own character, and it displays quite well. Consequently, her emotions may allow players to identify with her, find her more relatable, as they can find themselves saying the same things in the same situation. This is what makes her darker thoughts more evocative. Kotone presents herself as a tough and dependable leader, and in many ways, she is one. But when her mask slips, we find a person who is scared but brave, friendly but lonely. She knows that others rely on her, and she relies on them. Even with this revelation, or perhaps because of this revelation, she continues as a smiling soldier marching to their grave. Much of her inner turmoil is revealed in the latter half of the game, such as in her social link with Ryoji, and the months of December and January. In Ryoji's social link, Fortune, Kotone has a notable shift from her typical dialogue. Comparing her dialogue with Fortune to other social links, her choices are a lot more tempered, somber, and perhaps even more apathetic. Her answers are less bombastic, and her tone remains even. lacking her usual confidence and exuberance. Note a particular lack of exclamation marks or implied inflections on her words. And in addition, she makes substantially fewer jokes and is overall more reserved. In December and January, there is a notable shift in the way that Kotone perceives the world and how her dialogue is structured. When confronted by Junpei on December 10th, Kotone has a much more frustrated and stressed set of choices compared to Makoto's responses. The last option having Kotone yell at Junpei, saying, "How could I have known?" The final example regarding Persona 3 Portable I want to enlist is on December 20th, when Yukari and Mitsuru are talking about Kotone's strength. Yukari mentions how Kotone has been burdened by so much, yet still remains cheerful despite it. Yukari then mentions that it is because of Kotone's resistance that she carries on. Next, I would like to talk about the official manga anthology Persona 3 Portable Dear Girls. While this manga might not be canon per se, it is an insight into how Kotone operates internally. This book was collected as a part of an official work and is congruent with the storyline of Persona 3 Portable. The chapter Smile is a fitting example of Kotone's hidden face. It's a moment where the mask slips. For context, the manga chapter takes place after the death of Shinjiro Aragaki. Having lost someone dear to her, she wasn't able to keep on her mask for long. Each of her party members and social links could tell that she was simply not well. From a general lack of awareness to her smile appearing off, when she tries to tell herself that she is fine, ultimately, she breaks down in tears, unable to remember how she used to smile. Unable to force her tears back, all she could do was cry uncontrollably until the tears stopped flowing. She couldn't lie to herself. Next, I would like to move on to Persona Q2, New Cinnamon Labyrinth. If you haven't played Persona Q2 and would like to, please skip to this time on screen to avoid any potential spoilers. Persona Q2 has a wealth of characterizations for Kotone. Similar to how Yu Narukami was characterized in the anime and arena games, Kotone undergoes a similar transformation. Her cheery and bubbly demeanor was reflected well in her interactions with the 3, 4, and 5 cast members. She is one of the first characters that the Phantom Thieves meet, as she makes her appearance in the first movie, Kamoshida Man. She appears with her trademark wonder, humor, and excitement, as present in the original game. After meeting her, Futaba, despite being overly shy, was able to converse with Kotone with ease. Futaba and Yusuke agree that Kotone's social skills are unparalleled. During the story, Kotone confronts a foreboding sense of loneliness. This is due to the fact that Seize does not know her, as they came from Makoto's world. While she does have great social skills, she could only look on and see the friends that she has grown to love treat her with suspicion. While grappling with feelings of loneliness, Kotone is often seen staring into space before resuming her usual attitude. During these events, she is quick to do so to cover up her internal strife so that others can't see this fragile part of her, and she only can affirm that she is okay. For instance, during the movie Aegis, it is clear that Kotone empathizes with Ribbons and by extension, Hikari's feelings of isolation. She states as much when the movie ends, saying to Joker and Yosuke that she kept comparing Ribbon's situation to her own. At this moment, she felt like an outcast, missing her friends whom she considers family. She felt lost and did not know her place in the world. And even though they aren't the same people in her world, Kotone is ultimately comforted by Seize as they achieve a genuinely happy conclusion to the film. Before I end off the video, I would like to add that if you enjoy content like this and would like to see more of it in the future, please subscribe and leave a like on the video. It goes a long way to support the channel. Kotone is a fascinating character, from her determined exterior to her more fragile interior. Just like Makoto Yuki, she is struggling with a profound sense of melancholy. Moreover, both Kotone and Makoto are both represented by the arcana of the Fool, and they both start at the beginning of their journeys, coming from a place of loss and hardship. However, she deals with life differently than he does. She displays a different kind of depression, distinguishing her character from his, and building her own personality out of it. Of the themes of Persona 3, she is able to successfully meet them in a fundamentally different way than Makoto can. Of Memento Mori, remembering that you will eventually die, Kotone approaches the world with hope, beyond immeasurable hardship. Reminding yourself of your own mortality should not paralyze you from action or connecting with others. It is poised to remind you to reap what life has to offer with wonder and awe as you come to witness all of the possibilities that stand before you. Death is a fate that awaits us all. But first, you must live. To live, one must survive beyond apathy. Kotone Shiomi is not only a representation of a different side of depression, she is also an embodiment of hope. She is a reminder that despite it all, it is our duty to live first. Thank you for watching.